Okay, so as we continue in our learnings and preparing for Pesach, tonight, Leil Shishi, Parshat Vayikra. So we'll try to combine an idea from the Parsha as well as from the Yom Tov. Yaakov Galinsky, Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha, in his Sefer V'Yigadeto, he asks a question. He says, we know when a person makes a sin, when does he bring a korban? For what type of sin? It has to be done. If it's done b'mezid, does he bring a korban? Let's say he's Michal Shabbos b'mezid, and he has all the mornings and stuff like that. Right? It's shogeg. What does shogeg mean? Shogeg means accident. Right? I didn't mean to do it.
He still brings.
And that's when he brings the korban. Now, what does it mean bringing korban? He says, bringing korban, you have to bring the korban. You have to do tshuva. You have to put your hands on it. You know, somech on the korban. Then he needs to think about what he did. Then he needs to think that everything they're doing to the animal should be done to him. Okay, then he has to make sure the kohanim are eating it, depending on which korban it is.
For the accident.
All this for the accident. That's of Yaakov Galinsky's question. He says the guy did an accident. It's shogeg. Why are you making him do so much for one sin that was accidental? So Yaakov Galinsky answers based on a midrash. The midrash tells us, midrash Tanhuma on Vayikra, Shanu Rabotenu, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, va'avera goreret avera. One mitzvah leads to the next mitzvah. One avera leads to the next avera. And then he says further in the midrash, Lo yatzer adam al avera she'asa b'shogeg. And a person is not troubled if he made an avera b'shogeg. Ela sheniftach lo patach she'echetav va'afilu b'shogeg va'afilu b'mezid. People don't feel bad that they make a sin, but the truth is, when you make a sin, you've now opened the door to more averot, both b'shogeg and b'mezid. Once you do one sin, says the Midrash, you open the door to more and more sins. Similar to we have a statement in the Gemara that says, Kivan sha'avar adam avera b'shana ba, na'aset lo keheter. Once a person does an avera, he does it again, and then it becomes to him not asur, it becomes heter. And if he does it again, the Chachamim say, if not only becomes heter, it becomes mitzvah. Now that he's already so entrenched into this avera. Why is this happening? Why would a person be so entrenched to continue? Says Rav Yaakov Galinsky, a very, very important idea. People like to think of themselves, Kol derech ish yashar me'inav. Every way of the person is proper in his eyes. When you go around and do something, you think you're doing it right. I go around and I do something, I think I'm doing it right. Everybody thinks, in their own eyes, they're right. So what happens when they make a sin? When they make an avera? They think they're right. Not only they think they're right, they will start to justify why they're right. One of the hardest things for man to do is to be modeh al ha'emet, to say the truth. Awotai, the Midrash tells us that after Adam HaRishon sinned with the Eitz Hadat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and said to him, make tshuva, you stay in Gan Eden. Everyone would be in Gan Eden today if Adam would do tshuva. Hashem said to him, make tshuva. Said the Midrash, Bereshit Rabbah. And you know what Adam said? Adam HaRishon first said, it's the woman. It's all her fault. It's not me. Then he said to the Midrash, he said, I ate it, and I would do it all over again. So it's in the Midrash. He says, I ate it, I'll do it again. Not only that, after Hashem said, do tshuva, he said, not my fault. I did it, I'll do it again. He then, says the Midrash, Lo nitrad megan Eden ad sheheref vegidef. he was not expelled from Gan Eden until he started to curse and curse and blaspheme Hashem. He started to say things against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Can you imagine? Hashem came to him and said, do tshuva. He said, no, it's not my fault. Then he said, I'll do it again. And then he started to curse God. How did this happen?
What do you mean he cursed?
He cursed him.
Who?
Adam and Rishon cursed God. So Midrash says.
Does it mean it literally? Doesn't.
It means it literally.
Maybe
So,
on his level.
so no, literally. On his level, a curse is still a curse. So says Rav Galinsky, this is the proof that people are stuck in their ways. You're not married yet, but when you get married, at the Shem soon, sometimes you realize you did something wrong. The husband, you did something wrong. The hardest thing to say, and to say it genuinely and sincerely, to say, I'm sorry, you're right. Sometimes, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. And you know you're really wrong. But you just to be moida al emes, to say I did something wrong, is an extremely hard thing. It's extremely hard. Adam HaRishon couldn't do it. He couldn't say it. You know, the Midrash tells us, and we see this in the Nevi'im, Chazal tell us, that Shaul made one mistake, and the kingdom was taken away from him. David made 2 mistakes, 2 averot, and the kingdom stays with him forever. David Melech Yisrael Hay V'Kayam. Why the difference? Why the difference? When Natan Navi came to David HaMelech and said to David HaMelech, what'd you do with Bathsheba? It's like a rich man taking away the poor man's sheep. David HaMelech said, Hatati la Hashem. I made a sin. That's it. He admitted. Modeh al ha'emet. And then Natan told him, Gam Hashem he'ever chatitcha lo tamut. Hashem forgive you, you're not going to die. David HaMelech makes a sin by counting all the Jews. And then David felt bad. He made tshuva. Hashem said, I forgive you. The ability to say I did something wrong, that's David HaMelech. What about Shaul? Shaul? Shmuel tells him, Kol Adonai Amalekим. He comes, he says, what's all of this going on? Why is everyone still alive? And Shaul says, Baruch atah Hashem, hakimoti et davar Hashem. Then Shmuel tells him, you didn't. He says, no, Asher shamati v'kol Hashem, I did everything Hashem said. You didn't. No, I did, he says. You didn't do what Hashem said? Shaul says, I did it. Tell someone you didn't do it right, he says, no, I did it right. If you met people like that, tell them, right, say yeah. Because for them, it's very hard for a person to see his own faults. And even if he sees his faults, to be modeh on those are even harder. There was Rav Galinsky shares a story. He was traveling through Russia by train. And the distances from one stop to another stop could be very long. They traveled for days without a stop. And they were in a room, in one of these, there were 3-tier bunks, so 3 beds, one on top of the other. And on the top of one of them, the toppest one, there was a guy. His name was Andre. It says Rav Galinsky, the whole time, Andre was saying, I'm thirsty, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty. They had no water on board. He keeps screaming for hours on end. Finally, they get to a stop. Rav Galinsky says, give me your bottle. He gives him the bottle. He goes out to the stop. He fills it up with water, brings it to him. He brings him all this water. And finally, he says, Andre, you drank. You're not thirsty anymore. Now, please let everybody sleep. Please let everybody get some rest.
Andre's worker?
The guy that's on top there. And then, as the train starts to move, what does Andre do? He starts screaming, Oi, how thirsty I was! Oh, how thirsty I was before, you have no idea! And he's just now talking about how thirsty he was. He came out of it. He's still into it. I will tell you, there's a pasuk. There's not a pasuk, but a prayer that we say. Va'al tivi'eni lo lidei het, v'lo lidei avera. And don't bring us to the hands of sin. What does it mean in the hands of? What does it mean in the hands of? Sins have hands? Averot have hands?
Will be captured.
Very good. So says Rav Eli Apian, that's what happens. When a person does a sin, it captures him. It holds on to him. It doesn't let him go, right? It's like a kelev that doesn't let him go. It's sticking to him everywhere he goes. He stays with it. It's so hard to go away from a sin. It becomes part of that person. Says Rav Gulinsky, now you can understand why the Torah makes us do so much for one shogeg. One mistake. One mistake you did, you got to bring a korban. You got to do all this whole process. You got to think about all these things. Why? Because one unintentional sin can grab a person and never let him move again. He gets so stuck to it. He won't be able to let it go. You know, when you read through the Dayenu, right? So on Pesach, we have the song Dayenu. Most people sing it in the middle of the Seder, in the middle of Magid. And in the Dayenu, we go through a whole list. Okay, he took us out of Mitzrayim. Well, thank you, we thank you, we thank you. And at the end, we say, Lachat kama v'kama toiva, chifula, mufelet, l'mokom aleinu. You took us out of Mitzrayim, asavehem shefotim. You made judgments on their gods. You punished and killed their firstborns. Not lanu et mamonam, karalanu et hayam. Hevironu b'toichai, becharavon. Shika tzarenu b'toichai. Sipek tzarkenu b'midbar. You fed us, Arba Mishana. You gave us Mon. You gave us Shabbat. You gave us Sinai. You gave us the Torah. And here ends off. What is it? Hichnisanu le'eretz Yisrael. Uvanu lanu et beta bechira. What's the last four words? Lechaper al kol avonotenu. Well, and that ends off the thanks. Thanks is you gave us the Beit HaMikdash that we can mechaper and avonotenu. Why is that the ending? Why do I have to say lechaper avonotenu? You gave us the Beit HaMikdash. Lechaper avonotenu. That is perhaps the biggest form of geula a person can have. The biggest form of redemption of zman cherutenu is understanding that we're stuck in the clutches of the Yetzer Hara and being able to get out of there. That means that today, unfortunately, we don't have a Beit HaMikdash. And we cannot bring up the actual korbanot. So what do our Chachamim say? If you can't bring the korbanot, what do you do instead? We say it every day in the morning in the tefillah. Unshalama parim sifatenu. You're going to say the korbanot with your lips. Lips have to be used very, very wisely. Unshalama parim sifatenu. If a person actually learns through the korbanot, and he says them and he understands them, he is in them, it's ki'ilu he did it. It's ki'ilu he brought those korbanot. There were certain chachamim, if they ever had to do hashalom mashogeg or did a certain sin, by accident, they would read those korbanot, study that, and make sure they did tshuva that way. Shama parim sifatenu is our tefillot that we do in the Amidah, in all the tefillot that we do. When a person comes to tefillah, a person has to realize, like we mentioned many times from our sefer that we learned over here, is that he has to first realize he's a nothing. He's no existence. Everything's my Kadosh Baruch Hu. A person has to really come to understand the words that he's saying. It's not enough to just say it. You're not a tape recorder like we said yesterday. You're not just words that you're reading. Chachamim tell us when you go through the Haggadah, you have to be as if you're there. As if you are going, not if, you are there. You have to experience it all. Everything in Judaism is actual experience. You know, Rav Soloveitchik writes that every time the Torah is being read in the shul, it's like a Ma'amad Har Sinai. It's a Ma'amad Har Sinai. So how can people even think about talking and schmoozing or doing something like that? You're at Ma'amad Har Sinai. That's a person who is living an actual experience of Judaism. Some people don't live an actual experience. What they do is, they come and go. I'm here, I leave, I do it, this, that. They're not living it. To be an actual Jew, you have to think, just like this guy who brought the Korban has to think, what's happening to the Korban is happening to me. This, that. You have to have machshavot. You have to really think what you're doing. Tefillah requires thought. Learning Torah requires thought. Right? Like the Ramban says, as soon as you finish learning, get up and think, what did I learn and how can I apply it to my life? Miyat, right away. Every single step has to be done with thought. The Yetzer Hara's number one gadget today to make us not think things through is not giving us time to think. Keeping us very busy with all these different apps, all these games, and in America you're busy with business and this and that. No time to think. But a person has to understand. The shogeg happened, why unintentionally? Because I wasn't thinking. Shogeg, unintentionally, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it, why? Because it slipped my mind. I didn't realize, well, this is Avera. I didn't realize it was Shabbat. I didn't realize. And he made mistakes. The guy wasn't thinking. A Jew's job is to think in this world. Is to do stuff. Say it with your lips, but really mean it. Take it out from your heart. We have in Masechet Negaim, it tells us Oy l'Rosha, oy l'Shchino. If there's a Rasha, bad for him and bad for his neighbor. There's another principle we have. Tov l'Tzadik, mitov l'Shchino. Good for the Tzadik and good for his neighbor. So which one is it? Let's say I have a tzaddik and I have a rasha and they're neighbors. So it's tov tzaddik, or is it oy l'shchino, or it's tov l'shchino? Which one does it go? Who's in charge? Which way does it go? So says Rav Galinsky.
It depends who's following who.
It depends on who has control over who. Who is on top, so to speak. The same thing is in our lives. In our lives, what is on top of us? We were learning that the whole idea of karpas, of yachats, breaking the matzah, we said, was breaking the Yetzer Hara, and it's serving Hashem b'chol alavecha with all your life. When we said you have to really get into it, you have to break, you have to be goiver, not just to you have to be conquering your Yetzer Hara, like we saw in Masechet Sanhedrin. You have to really beat the Yetzer Hara in order to control it. Just to not sin is one thing, but to be kovesh, to be gover, the Yetzer of the person, then he can use it b'chol alavecha. Then he can serve Hashem with both hearts. If the tzaddik and the rasha are living nearby, and the rasha is getting away with stuff, and the tzaddik is just, I'm remaining a tzaddik in the presence of a rasha, then he's not in control. But if tzaddik is overpowering the rasha, he's in control. He's showing, he's doing more. He's not being the guy. You know, one of the things here, and for better or for worse, the religious Jews in America versus Eretz Yisrael, right? In Eretz Yisrael, the religious Jews don't care about anybody or anything. This is what I'm doing. This is the mitzvah. This is what I think. I don't care what anyone says. I'm doing it. Yeah. In America, we're very polite. What is this guy going to say? What's that guy going to say? Who's going to think? What's going to think? You know, it's very different modes of. But the truth is, each one has its miles. In the end of the day, there has to be an idea in a person that if he's doing a mitzvah, he knows he's doing it right. Obviously, it should be done the proper way, with nachat, and this way, but it should be done. Meaning he should be gover. He should be the one on top. You have a non-religious neighbor near you. Sometimes okay, I'll be nice to him, this and that, but they don't stretch out a hand to try to bring this guy back. You know, tell him, come, come with me. We're going to the shul. Come with me. We're going to the shul. They don't say these things. We want to be polite. We want to be nice. We don't want to mess. We used to have this American expression: "Live and let live." Right? I'll live, you live, everybody be okay. This is not fun. If the guy is near you, first of all, Kadosh Baruch Hu put him near you. Second of all, maybe you're supposed to influence him. Maybe you have to do something. If you are really doing the right things, you will rub off on him. But maybe it should be done with a little more, right? The Zohar tells us if we know how much schar and how much simcha, it brings Hashem that if we bring one Jew back into the fold, people would be running to find someone who's not religious and to bring them back. If we just knew the greatness that it makes us the Shekhinah happy and how much schar a person would get for doing that. And so, I'll end off the idea that the whole idea of the Qurban, of bringing it, going through all this process, is to hand control back to the person who brings it. You lost control. You stopped thinking. You did the wrong thing. Well, guess what? Now, bring the Qurban. Think, do all these things in order for you to have the upper hand again and not let the Yetzer Hara get you. And this, Rabotai, we're already, 30, 40 years old. We have what they say, can't teach old dog new tricks, right? We already, sometimes, unfortunately, we're stuck in our ways. But it's important that we stop, we analyze, we think. And this is one of the powers of Chodesh HaAviv, the month of the springtime. What's the month of the springtime? Everything gets rejuvenated and renewed in the springtime. All of a sudden the trees start to re-blossom. We say a special bracha. The experience is not just going and finding a tree and saying the bracha. That's the mitzvah. That's the way you have to do it. 2 trees, 2 different meaning, beautiful. But how did you live it? What experience you got out from it? You saw that tree. During the winter, there was nothing on it. And now, there's stuff on it. Guess what? Same thing with you. If you're all rik, you have no water, you have nothing on you, you're empty. So what? The tree also was empty. But the tree also got revisited. They got everything back on it. Same thing with the person. Right? Person is Adam ki eitz hasada. Right? He is the tree of the field. He also can get his blossoms back. He can also get perot back. All he has to do is to wake up and replant himself. And Kosh Baruch Hu will give him the zchut to jump up in Kedusha and skip from Kadesh to Urchas and jump. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should all be zochet to a beautiful Chodesh HaAviv, to a beautiful Chag Kosher V'Sameach, Shabbat Shalom.